You're right, Mitch here from Mitch at Capture Imagery. In this video, I was going to discuss how the art of photography is viewed as a community and rather than a competition. So for me, being a photographer means being part of a community. It's also much more difficult to compete with other photographers. So we may as well appreciate the fact that we have the same interests, we share the same sort of like-minded ideas, whether it's a different niche, whether it's a different market, whether it's a different area of photography. Ultimately, we want to share our story. We all have the same situation. We all have the same passion. We just have different art styles and perspectives of what art can be and how you perceive the world in which we live in. So our style can be seen by a variety of genres, including nature, landscapes, architecture, street photography, portraits, and macro, just to name, but there's a few. There's tons and tons. So just to name a few there. And ultimately, we're photographing a frozen moment to look back on with fondness, happiness, and progress. My concept of community is breaking down the barriers that you don't have to be a professional photographer or a particularly experienced person to share and create art. You can also be a minimalist when it comes to gear, and you don't have to buy the most expensive gear. You can enjoy it because you love the hobby. You do it because you love the hobby. And for me, I've bought a second-hand camera, so I've brought back the love for that old camera and reborn again. So I've used that camera frequently, and that is my go-to camera at the moment. And it takes just as good shots as any other expensive camera at the moment. And I have lenses with that as well. So they're second-hand lenses, just giving them a re-useful life, repurposing them, and that's what I believe you should be doing. What's more, the photography community is all about assisting other photographers in getting started by giving advice, sharing different tips, showing different images, and sharing their story that's behind each photo that's taken. And each photo tells a different story from person to person, photographer to photographer, because ultimately they see a different vision compared to another person. So they may have different experiences that can share with you, different life stories, what worked, what hasn't worked. And attempting to break down that cliche barrier in photography that you have to be an expert, well, that expert knows best. Everybody knows some bit of information, everyone's learned something different, and just bring what you can to the table. That's what I feel is super important. Many people in the community want to assist, they want to help you. This community is a loving community and we support each other. Photographers support photographers. As many other communities, they may support each other in many ways and help others by sharing insightful content that they've learned or discovered and distributing it to others. This is what I want to reflect in my content in order to help others who in turn can help others. So content. So I've learned this content, I've recycled it and used my words and how I'm going to interpret the information, and you can use my information, interpret it, and so on and so on. So basically, you read an article, read a book, and interpret what you've learned from it or your version of it, and just reshare it, and that's how you help others. And at the same time, a powerful tribe of like-minded people is being built and a dialogue is being created. That's why I feel there's an important link between photography and mental health and how that dialogue is being created. Also, consider sharing tales. So consider sitting around a campfire and sharing folk tales and stories from behind the camera, behind the lens, behind that person. Who is that person? Sharing their unique story, a tale. Being in a community is similar to being in a tribe. Our instinct as humans is to be part of a tribe of people. It also, excuse me, it also emphasizes the significance of mental health. A community of people helps each other's mental health and distracts you from your current situation or your current moment or your current feeling and your current emotion, taking your mind off things. And for me, that helps my mental health, as do many other photographers, by getting out, taking the steps, going for a walk, and then taking a photo at the end. That's how people break out. And taking that moment of reflection, taking that moment of solitude, getting out within nature, turning your phone on do not disturb, for example, and just being present in the moment. That is what heals or helps heal your mental health. So yeah, that was on my mind, and the concept of community is much stronger than the competition. I've noticed a lot of tribes out there. There's tons and tons over the time. But remember this: yes, it's oversaturated with the style, but it's not oversaturated because you have your own style and your own variety. And put your little spice in there, put your little twist on there, put your little piece in there. And I appreciate the idea of community over competition. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please let us know. Thanks for listening and watching. See you in a bit.